All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the MMAOB Daily Podcast. Today is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. I'm joined by my co-host here on Monday and Tuesdays, Mr. Big Marcel. And we got a special guest here today, the former co-host of the MMAOB Daily Podcast and the current host of the BJ Penn Just Scrap Radio Podcast, Cole Shelton. Cole, man, what's going on, man? Glad to have you back, dude.
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing good, Cole. How about you, Marcel? How's everything, man?
Yeah, all good, man. All good.
Well, it's always about delicate balancing act, guys, and we got three people here. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting show today, but I'm looking forward to talking about these fights with you guys. We got 14 fights to break down today, UFC 272. Just before we get into it, we will mention that co-main event is official for today, for this weekend's card. It was announced today that Rafael dos Anjos will be fighting Renato Moicano, 160-pound catchweight. I know you talked to him, Cole. You texted with him. Can you give us any information that you guys talked about or anything he said to you?
Yeah, he's 180 pounds right now and gets into Vegas tomorrow morning or afternoon. So I don't know. He said tomorrow morning, but I don't know if that's Vegas time or it'd be like where his time. But yeah.
I mean, 20 pounds in 4 days? It's not going to be an easy cut, but I think he'll make the weight. I hope he does. I like the fight, guys. I know a lot of us wanted to see Islam. We talked about it for half the podcast yesterday, but it is a decent fight. Just like Marcus said. Hey, Marcus won that fight. Marcus, I know you're going to be at the fights, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I think you're going to be there. Alex, what's going on, man? I know you're there. He's definitely covering the fights this week. And Tristan's here. What's going on, Tristan? He's saying no way Moicano goes 5 rounds. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. It's definitely interesting. All right, so, I mean, let's just get into the card. But I guess before we break down the fights, I like to ask you guys, your overall thoughts on this card. I'll start with you, Cole. Your overall honest thoughts on the card.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's a really good card.
How about you, Marcel? What do you think?
I'm honestly not really pumped about it, but it's a good card. But I don't think it's really amazing for a pay-per-view. But
I'm glad we got some different opinions on here. I'm kind of I'm in between you guys. I'm right in between because I think I think there's some good fights, especially in the prelims, and we'll talk about some of them. But I do think that it's lacking some name value. I know that obviously the main event is a big fight, but I think for a pay-per-view, I think they could have used another big fight. But we can't complain too much. It's still a damn good card, and they were able to get a replacement opponent. Let's get into the card, guys. Let's do it. We got some guys in the chat here. We got Big J, we got Joe, we got Litchfield, so we got a lot of people here. And 8 Loco says Islam was just clout chasing. I mean, I really don't know what was said or what the negotiations were, but I honestly, guys, I actually feel like this is a better fight because it's a more fair fight. I looked at the line. Cole, there was just a fight last year. It was minus 500. He probably would have been minus 800 this time. At least this time, RDA is barely minus 200, right? So, just last couple of comments. Tristan says it's not a great pay-per-view. Bon Kui likes the prelims. So, well, that Malarkey turn fight's good. And then Glenn says there's a lot of tickets available. I still think I think the mistake they made was these guys should have fought for top first to build up it more. I think that was the right move to do, but it is what it is. All right, let's get into the card, guys. Let's start with the first fight of the night. Dustin Jacoby, a guy Cole interviewed for BJ Penn. I got to plug that, Cole, for you. I talked all about his golf game. Takes on Michael Alexiak to open up the card here. It's an interesting fight. I'm a little surprised it's opening up the card. They're doing a light heavyweight fight. They've been doing this lately. They had that Grisham Knight fight a few weeks ago, or actually that was heavyweight, but you know what I mean? Usually it's the lighter weight guys. Now they're putting the heavy guys. I guess they're hoping for a knockout here. We got Dustin Jacoby minus 185, Michael Alexiak plus 160. I'll start with you, Cole. What's your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I would have swapped this one with the Kennedy fight because I think this fight's going to be good. I think that fight's going to suck, but I think Jacoby's it's going to stay striking. I think Jacoby's just a much better striker. Oleksiejczuk, really good performance last time out. I did not expect him to knock out Gamzatov like that. I thought he lost to Bukauskas. So if he lost that, he was probably getting cut, but that Bukauskas fight, he was able to find his range, just kind of piece up Oleksiejczuk. I think Jacoby's a much better striker than what Bukauskas is. I think Jacoby could maybe finish him second, third round if Oleksiejczuk gets gassed, but I think Jacoby probably cruises to a decision win.
How about you, Marcel? Give your pick.
I think both guys have a win on their record they maybe shouldn't have, man. I think Oleksiejczuk, like Cole said, against Bukauskas, and I think Jacoby against Grisham. But I agree with Cole, man. I think Jacoby is a better striker, overall. He's also, he has been in the kickboxing in glory as well. I know it's not kickboxing, of course, but I feel the same way. And Oleksiejczuk, yeah, he impressed me as well against Gamzatov. But we also have to take a mention Gamzatov, his debut in the UFC against Abreu, he won that one, but I still think he didn't win that one. So how really good is Gamzatov, man? I saw him doing well in other organizations, but in the UFC hasn't impressed me so far. So, yeah, I'm picking Jacoby here. Will he finish him? Questionable, man. I don't know. I feel safer to go with a decision here.
And I'll make it 3 for 3. I'm going with Dustin Jacoby in the first fight of the night too, guys. I agree with both of what you said. I mean, he's just a better technical striker. He's a former Glory kickboxer. This guy is really good in the feet. And, I think he's looked fantastic since coming back to the UFC, guys. Like, I know he hasn't really fought like big name guys, but he's looked good in the fights he's had. Even that Ion fight where he got taken down like a ton in the first round, he really bounced back and probably should have won the second, third round, won the decision. So he could be on like a really long win streak right now if he didn't have that draw in there. I think he's looked really good, I will say that, Oleksiak has upside though. He's only 26 years old. He's super young. He's coming off a nice knockout win that would surprise me. I bet on Bukauskas last year, guys. I lost that bet. That one really sucked. I think we all thought that he definitely won that fight against Oleksiak, but I thought so, and just that, Cole, I completely agree with what you said, because I look at that fight, that's the blueprint for this one. Like, he just has to stay at range, move backwards, and pick the guy apart. Oleksiak's going to have a chance to win in the first round, I think. He's very dangerous in that first round. But if he doesn't get the knockout, I don't think he does. I think Jacoby just ends up outstriking him, wins the decision, or maybe gets a late finish. So I'm completely with you guys. You guys think minus 188 is fair for DJ, or should be minus 250? So, yeah, I'm just looking at the odds out there. I'm seeing like minus 185, minus 190. I think that's about fair. That's about what I cap him at, to be honest with you. I think that the 2-1 line is about fair. You guys think so too? Any thoughts, Cole?
Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Marcel agrees too. Good luck, Kenshiro. We'll talk about those fights in a bit. And I agree with this guy. I mean, he's right. I think that's exactly what he does. I'm pretty sure that's what's his name? Bukauskas was doing. He's just kind of staying at the end of the range and throwing kicks, and he should have won the decision. But again, he was moving backwards. But Jacoby has the capability of moving forward too. He's just a bigger guy, better striker. We got Zach in here. Yeah, Penny Oleksiak and her brother Jamie Oleksiak. He plays for the Seattle Kraken, I think now. So there you go. She's a great swimmer. He's like, I think he's the biggest hockey player too, Cole. I think he's like 6'8" or something. He's like him and Tyler Myers. They're both like massive dudes. And so are these guys. But we all like Dustin Jacoby here. Let's go to the next fight, guys. This one, okay, can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. It was a short notice fight at lightweight. Ludovic Klein moving up a weight class at short notice, taking on Devontae Smith. Ludovic struggled with the weight, so I think that he might have had to move up anyways. But he's taking this on short notice against Devontae Smith. The odds for this fight, Devontae Smith minus 170, Ludovic Klein, or according to Best Fight Odds, Rudovic Klein, because Best Fight Odds sucks now. He's plus 150. I'll start with you this time, Marcel. Who's your pick in this one, my man?
Kind of a weird ass fight, to be really honest, man. Devontae Smith, I remember he had pretty big hype behind him, and that completely vanished after the Kamaworthy loss in the first round. And then he got the win over James, and then in the last fight, man, he looked good, I think, in the first round against Jamie Malarkey, man, but he lost the second round. Also got a loss on his record against the Alpaca guy, John Gunter. Ludovic Klein. Klein had also lots of hype when he came to UFC, right? And he had a great win against Shane Young. Then the Trizano one could have won both ways. Honestly, he could have won that one as well. But the Landwehr fight, man, that completely threw me off, to be really honest, man. I mean, I don't really think, and no disrespect to Nate Landwehr, before that fight, I said he's probably not UFC caliber because I also thought he didn't want to fight against Elkins, So, and then he did amazing against Ludovic Klein, man. So maybe his switch to MMA Masters had paid off, and he does look a lot better now. I don't know, but plus Devontae Smith is a lot bigger in this fight. I think he's 2 inches taller, bigger reach. I gotta go with Smith here, man. I can't pick Klein after what I saw last time. I think Smith wins the fight. How does he win? Let's go a little bit crazy. I'm taking a TKO in the first round.
Okay. Cole, your thoughts on this fight?
It's hard to trust either guy. Like Devontae Smith, I think he has all the skills to be a top 10 guy, but it's just the chin. Like Commonworthy knocked him out, and then Jamie Malarkey finishes him. It's just like that's obviously a big worry. I wouldn't want to lay like this much on a guy that you're worried about one shot, especially Klein, who has good power. I just think Klein's going to be a bit too small against Smith. And then the short notice, I worry about his cardio. I think Smith finishes him probably like second round as Klein starts to slow down. He kind of starts picking up it. I think that first round's going to be real sketchy if you're back in Smith, because I think Klein could be able to knock him out pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same thoughts pretty much as you guys here in that it's a tricky fight to call. And the short notice makes it even weirder. But I think that's almost like the reason I have to pick Smith is because of that short notice and the move up in weight class. It seems like a bad spot for Klein in a little bit. Based on the last fight, especially, like, man, I was so high on this guy. Like, he looked so good in Europe, man, and he had that amazing win in his debut. And honestly, I thought he beat Mike Trezano, but he looked like absolute garbage in the last fight. Like, it was so bad. And Nate Landwehr's a guy that was, I think, if he had lost that fight, he probably would have been cut by the UFC. So, to me, that's just such a bad loss. Like, you lost to the guy at the bottom of the roster. I think that's a bad loss. So, just based on that alone, I'm having a hard time going with Klein. But Smith also, man, it's like this. It's really hard to trust this guy. He lost as a minus 1,000 favorite against Commonworthy. He lost his last fight as a favorite against Malarkey. He's a very hard guy to trust, and his chain and his cardio are so sketchy, but he is super dangerous, and he's going to be a lot bigger than Klein. So I got to go with Smith too, guys, and he does get all his wins by finish, so I'll go with a knockout as well, but it's not a fight I'm interested in betting on, honestly. Marcel, you're about to say something?
Yeah, it's actually crazy, man. I remember when we talked about that Nate Landwehr against Ludovic Klein fight, and it was pretty much, we said, you always say, I don't like the word luck, but if there was a luck on that card, we went with Ludovic Klein. And we were completely off on that fight, man. Yeah. It's actually crazy. So yeah, I can remember that.
I actually remember what you said. You were like, "There's no reason for me to pick Nate Landwehr." Yeah. He just goes out and destroys the guy.
Yeah.
So based on that fight, it's just I find it hard to back this guy. Like I can't do it. But he definitely can win by knockout, right, guys? I mean, he's got power. He can kick Devontae Smith in the head and knock him out. It's just, do you want to back a guy that looked that bad in his last fight? I don't think I could do it. And these guys are like Smith, Joe like Smith, Glenn like Smith, Bonquiki like Smith, Hype like Smith, Club and Sub by Smith, maybe. I just think he probably just finishes them with strikes. But, Klein, he's lost twice by submission, so it's definitely possible. All right, let's go to the next fight, guys. Okay, well, the next one was supposed to be Just Guy Manon Fiorot. The fight's off the card. Next fight would be Tim Elliott and Tajir Ulanbekov. Cole also interviewed Tim Elliott as well, so you can plug that interview if you want, Cole. Minus 235 for Tajir, plus 195 for Tim Elliott. You can go ahead this time, Cole, and plug your interview too.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about when I talked to Tim is he said he thinks this is going to be the first time he's going to have fun in a while. He says not fighting in front of fans isn't fun. He said like that's when he's at his best. And he said he could go out and do a lot of stuff because Tajir is not dangerous at all. He said there's no danger factor. He says, I'm not getting knocked out. I'm not getting submitted. The worst case is he holds me down for 15 minutes and I just sit there and it's a boring fight. Like who cares? So I think Tim will have some more success, but I just think Tajir can be able to hold him down and just kind of control the fight. I don't think it's going to be that entertaining because I think if Tim Elliott's winning the fight, I think it's going to be more entertaining just because of his style. But I think Tajir wins it. I think he just kind of holds Tim Elliott down. But it's hard to really trust Tajir. Like he's been these massive favorites in the UFC, like minus 500 over Bruno Silva and like minus 400 or 450 over Alan Nascimento. And he almost lost an Nascimento fight. That Bruno Silva fight wasn't like a total blowout like people thought. Like I don't think he's as good as a lot of people, especially the odds makers, make him out. I'll go Tajir by decision, but like I wouldn't be shocked if Tim Elliott pulled off the upset.
Give your pick, Marcel.
Odds makers be like, and with OV, undefeated favorite. I mean, it's kind of a disrespectful line to me, man, to be really honest, because I think if you look at Ulanbekov's last two fights, what Cole said, man, were both very competitive, and even Alan Nascimento has I can't say that he was maybe won that fight, it was very close, could have been his fight. So, but I also agree with Cole, I think Ulanbekov is able probably to hold Elliott down, and if that happens, he probably wins a decision. The thing is, I'm not really impressed so far by Ulanbekov, but he gets by, that's the most important at this moment probably. And Yeah, I don't see. The thing is with Elliott, does he submit him? Probably not. Does he finish him with a KO? Probably not. So we'll go with a decision, and then I prefer to go with Ulanbekov. But the line is kind of disrespectful to me, man. To be really honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you and Beckhoff here too, just like you guys. I just think Tim Elliott's a guy you kind of have to pick against. He's 6-10 in the UFC. He has a losing record. He historically loses fights. Bekov, although he hasn't looked, I don't think he's been as dominant as all, like you said, Cole. Like the odds indicate. Like, and honestly, that last fight, he could have lost that fight. He really could have. He's still getting the job done, and I look at this guy as someone that probably hasn't lived up to their potential yet in the UFC. He's a lot younger. He's 5 years younger than Tim. I think he can still like improve and show improvements in the octagon. I did think it was interesting, Cole, that you mentioned during your interview that this is his first time fighting in the States, this guy. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. Like, I think he's been training at AKA, so he should be acclimated to the time anyways, but it is something, it's a different situation, obviously, whereas Tim's really used to that. I don't know. I just think Tim Elliott's got so many holes in his defensive grappling, man. I think he can get taken down. I think he can get choked out. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Ulanbek choked him out in this fight. I think it could be a spot where he gets a submission. But even if he doesn't, I think he just kind of has more time in the top on the ground and wins a decision. So I like Ulanbekov, guys. And I know the line seems a little high, but honestly, I think he wins this fight. And I think it's kind of accurate. It's a little over 2-1, but I think 2-1 is about accurate.
What's the line for submission?
Oh, that's a good call. I was supposed to check that. Ulanbekov by submission, which I think is possible, is plus 300. If you look at Elliott, most of his losses are either by submission or decision. Ulanbekov by decision is only plus 130. So you're getting, pretty good value on that if you think he finishes the fight. But I don't typically play props unless they're like big odds. So it's just up to you guys what you're going to do. I'm thinking a submission, guys, honestly. I think it can happen. Hype likes Tim Elliott by decision. I think it's possible for sure. I think it's definitely possible. Doug likes Tim is, or he just says he's a savage, so it should be scrappy. I think so too. And hey, Doug, what's going on? I see your other comment there. So yeah, we're all going to go with Ulanbekov here, guys. Another majority pick. Let's go to the next fight. I mean, I feel like we're all going to pick the same guy here too. Like you said, Marcel, I really like that quote you said. Odds makers say, or what are they thinking? If it's an OV at the end, then he's like a huge favorite. You talk about disrespectful lines, okay? So let me just start with this one. Like, minus 235 and Tajir, okay, it's maybe a little high, but I mean, I think it's in the ballpark. But I look at this fight, minus 800 on Umar Nurmagomedov, plus 500 on Brian Kelleher. Umar is good, but you talk about disrespectful line. I mean, this one is really crazy considering how good Brian's looked lately. I think he's looked really good. Cole, I want to hear your thoughts because I know you interviewed Brian Kelleher. Great interview, by the way. Brian's awesome. Best rapper in the UFC, right? Better than Bryce. Give me your thoughts on this one, Cole. We'll start with you, but I think the line's a little high, honestly, guys. Minus 800, that seems pretty high. Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah, even because Brian's a guy that breaks down fights a lot, bets on it. So I was even asking about the line, and he goes, "Yeah, look at his last name. Is it really a surprise he's this big of a favorite?" But he's an undefeated guy, but he beats Serghei Morozov. But then prior to that, he didn't really fight a whole lot of good guys. They were okay, but they're no one know. It's no real ex-UFC guys or former Bellator guys. The guys that went on to go to Bellator and have success. But what's interesting too is Umar has a win over that Kakmaranov guy who was Brian was supposed to fight. So he already studied Umar, but it's at 45-2, which is interesting. I don't really know who that favors. Probably Brian because he's a bigger guy. I have to go with Umar, though. I just think he's the better wrestler. I think he can just control Brian on the ground. I think Brian's path to victory is probably just landing a punch. He does have some good power. I think he just has to catch Umar. I just don't see that happening. I think Umar just grinds him out for probably a decision, maybe a late stoppage kind of win.
So you think the line's fair then, eh? Minus 800?
No, I think it's too high, though. But I think he wins.
Yeah, that's fair. What about you, Marcel? What's your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, man, it's going to be complete boredom because I'm with the Cole here again. I feel like, the thing is, if Kelleher can knock him out, it's always possible. So, yeah, but I feel like Umar Nurmagomedov, I agree with Cole. He hasn't fought the top level yet, but he has a lot of potential, man. If you see him fight, it's also the way somebody fights, you know what I mean? The way somebody fights, you can get just by, like Ulanbekov gets just by the guys he fights. But Nurmagomedov pretty much dominant in the fights that I saw him. So, yeah, I think there's a bad style matchup for Kelleher as well. So, I'm taking Nurmagomedov, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a finish. To be honest, man. But yeah, I'm going with a finish here. Yeah, I think Nurmagomedov finishes him.
He should win, and like, there's no doubt. But it's just like I don't know if laying minus 800, even in a parlay, is a good call. And I just don't know. Like he's been off for a year. He hasn't fought in a while. He's fighting a guy with tons of experience now. I think this guy wins. I mean, we all think he's going to win, but it doesn't add a lot of like value to your parlay. Cole. Like if you put him in there, like I'd rather just stick with some other guys. I think he probably wins the fight, guys. I do think the line's a little too high, though. I think Brian's a pretty damn good fighter, and he's looked good lately. But one hole he has is, I think, the submission defense, and I'm thinking a submission, Marcel. I think that's what you said as well. That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. I think that can happen here. Decision obviously can happen too. They're plus 100 for decision, plus 150 for inside distance. Maybe that's the way to play this fight. You take a prop instead. You just do one of those straight props, Cole. Like you do a plus 100 on decision or a plus 150 on the finish. I think that's the way to go in this one. I don't think playing him straight is a great idea. I would never recommend that in MMA at 8-1. And there's too many ways to lose and win a fight in the sport to lay 8-1 on anyone. By the way, this is I think more for like probably Cole. This one. Why did Grant Dawson betray James Coast and Glory? Do you know anything about that?
No, I think they're still pretty close. I think just Grant just wanted to try something else.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know he recently left. Where is he working at now? Do you know?
American Top Team.
American Top Team. I mean, that's a great gym though. So it's like he's not in the wrong spot. Take the under 2.5. Maybe that's a good spot too. That's not a bad spot. He could also get the knockout. Like the Kevin Kroon fight, guys. He was struggling with Kroon's like size, but he landed that massive punch at one point and it changed the whole fight. Right. I think Cole was right when he said he's got like. So it's like sneaky power Brian Kelleher has, Cole. Like, and no one talks about it. The guy's a little powerful, but this probably isn't the fight that Umar loses. And I'm looking at what you guys say. Yeah, I think that's Big J. That's I think the angle we're looking at now. Kelleher losing by submission, maybe. Morozov is better than Kelleher too. Is he though? I mean, I think they're pretty close. Morozov didn't. I mean, he looked good in that first round, but then he just completely fell apart in the last fight. What is that, Marcel? Oh, it's Elon Musk.
Kevin Kroon.
Oh, it's Kevin Kroon. I couldn't even see it. I could barely see it. There he is. Umar, I think. There he is. I can see it now. Umar, I think, wins. It's a bit high. Yeah. So we have the same thoughts on this one. All right, let's go to the next fight, guys. Next fight, Marina Moroz against Maria Agapova. The grudge match. Interesting fight. Agapova's minus 200, plus 170 in Moroz. Last year, Agapova was accused of being like a drug addict by Moroz, and they do not like each other. Let's just say that. So this should be a good scrap. I'll start with you, Marcel. I know you actually been looking forward to this fight, Marcel, so go ahead and give your thoughts.
It's actually the first part of ATT against MMA Masters, right, of the evening. It's pretty much the women version of this one. Marina Moroz, she bores me the fuck out, to be really honest. She goes into the to the website. She goes into the cage, and she takes people down and she tries to hold them down. And sometimes it works for her, but it's really not really eventful to watch, I think, at all. It works for her. Agapova, I gotta say, man, I was surprised by her approach against Maslow last time out. She looked really good. Got that knockdown that almost knocked out, and then she got the finish by a submission. Moroz can win the fight if she keeps spamming takedowns again and she's trying to hold her down like she always does. I remember when Moroz came in the UFC and she submitted Joanne Calderwood back then, now Wood, with an armbar in the first round. Everybody was
that was a big upset at the time. Marcel. It was a big upset. Yeah,
she's the next big thing. She's gonna fight for the title soon, and then completely vanished, pretty much, in my opinion. Also got a lot of pullouts the last couple of years. I think over 5 or 6. Agapova, she's besides the Dobson fight, really, she has looked pretty good, I think. And also, got to mention the Cortez fight in the Contender Series. She got dominated on the ground as well. So if there's a way of winning from Moroz, it's taking her to the ground. I feel like, man, the Demon Slayer gonna slay. I'm going with Agapova, man, and I'm going with a finish. I think she knocks her out second round.
There you go. Cole, it's your pick on this one.
Yeah, I think Agapova finishes Moroz too. I think she becomes the first person to finish her. It's really hard to tell what Moroz is getting to. Like, it's 2 years almost to the day since she last fought. Like, I don't like that. I think Agapova is a much better striker. I think she can stuff the takedowns. I think she probably TKOs Morose in the probably second round. I'd say second or third round. But if I think Morose has the capability to hold Agapova down, I think she's gonna get her down at some points. I just think Agapova's gonna get back up and then eventually just start teeing off her on the feet and get the finish.
Yeah, so this is an interesting fight for sure. Agapova, obviously that fight with Dobson, I mean, it was, I think, the biggest upset of all time, according to the odds. I mean, it's not like on paper it was the biggest upset, but according to the odds, it was, I'm sorry, by reputation. On paper it was, though. But she really bounced back, man, in that last fight with Maslow. She looked great in that fight, guys. She looked really good. Gotta block this guy. She looked really good in that fight, man. Getting the finish too late. That was impressive to me, because she was going to win a decision, right? But the fact she dropped her, and as soon as and it's the same in the Cyphers fight, she dropped the girl and then she choked her out right away, like no hesitation. So she's got that killer instinct. I definitely see a hole in the grappling. I think we all do. And obviously the cardio is still, I think it's still a concern, but it held up in that last fight. If she hadn't fought Maslow, if it was coming off the Dobson fight, I'd probably be picking Morose right now. But because of that fight and because she went to 3 rounds or almost to 3 and she looked sharp in that third round, I'm going to go with her. And you know what, Cole? I'm with you. And Marcel, I think a finish is like, that's how she finishes most of her fights. Like, that's how she wins her fights. Maria Agapova by knockout is plus 475 and her by submission is plus 450. So I think those are definitely interesting props, guys. Because you know what? And I got to say, minus 200 is not a bad line on her. It's like, it's a fair line, I think. So she's definitely someone I'm circling here, honestly, the more I think about this fight, because she just really looked great in the last fight. And she looked great against Dobson before she fell apart in the second round. So if she's got the cardio in check, and it seems like she does, I think, in MMA Masters, we'll see, she should win this fight, and she should win it handily. So should be a good fight. And I do want to mention this, though, that the weight class. Hey, Scott, what's going on, man? Scott also likes Morose in this fight. That's totally fair, Scott. I understand that. The fight is taking place at 125. Maria has fought. She's kind of bounced around a little bit, I think, but her last fight was at 125 as well. You're right. I think the durability is probably a little better for her. And then I didn't mention this because, I try not to bring in stuff that's outside, but it's probably obviously worth mentioning this, that there's a war going on in this girl's country, Morose. That obviously is stressful for everyone. So it's kind of another knock against her in a way. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the matchup. I just think that Agapova is going to be really powerful, man. That's what I think. Here's some more comments. Never mind, Agapova beats her about 8 local Demon Slayer by slashing. Yeah, she changed her name to Demon Slayer. It's official. Agapova has to be motivated. I mean, I think both of them are going to be motivated. Should be good. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Jim? He says smash the like button. Absolutely, guys. Let's go to the next fight here. We got Nikolai Negumereanu against Kennedy Nchekwu. The odds for this one, guys, minus 140 for Kennedy, plus 120 for Nikolai Negumereanu. You guys have started most of them off. Let me start one off now. This fight is definitely interesting. I'll say that. I have no idea what you guys are thinking, but for me, I just think Kennedy's, like, both guys have bad striking defense, honestly. Like, Nikolai's, if you look at his head striking defense in the UFC, it's really low. It's terrible because of that Kimber fight, right? So I get that's not good, but Kennedy, it's like there's no head movement at all. It just stays there, guys. The last fight I bet on him, that was a sick one to watch because he didn't even try really. He was just like this. And he's just getting elbowed. Remember that? You guys saw the fight. Like, what was he doing? What was the game plan to survive and then win again? I'm thinking to myself, yes, that was his game plan. Just like he did against Danilo Marquez and Alberg, he has to survive a first-round beating and come back and win. So in this fight, because Negumereanu is a good striker with power, he's going to go after him in the first round. It's definitely possible if Kennedy wins, or if he survives the first round, he wins this fight, late. But he has to survive that first round. He's coming off a knockout loss. He's fighting a guy with pretty good power. A guy that also is, a comparable as far as Kennedy usually has a massive reach advantage. It's only 5 inches this fight. It's still something, but I think Nick is, decent, and I think he can upset him. So here's my upset pick for you guys. I'm taking Nikolai Negumereanu, and I think he could finish Kennedy. Based off that last fight, I'm not picking Kennedy for a while, and I'll take Nikolai by knockout. And what's the odds on that? I don't even know if they're out right now, but inside the distance, it's only plus 150. Maybe even when the knockout prop comes, we take a look at it. But I think he can knock him out, guys. I'm just not impressed with Kennedy as of late. Give me your thoughts. We'll start with you, Cole. Go ahead.
I think both of them aren't very good. I think most light heavyweights beat both of them. I think that Nick fight, if you look at it, I don't really know if he beat Alexa Kmart. And the thing is, like, he was grabbing the fence so much. I don't know. Like, I saw MMA Lock the Night tweet about it. I forgot about that. Like, I just think Kennedy's the better striker. I'll lean towards Kennedy probably winning a decision. I think he loses the first round, and then I think he wins the second and third. I don't think it's going to be a very fun fight. Both of them, I think, are going to be not throw a ton of volume. I just think Kennedy's a tad better. I think Kenny wins decision, but I don't really have interest in betting either side of these on this fight.
What do you think, Marcel?
Not a weird ass fight. I'm really surprised the UFC hasn't put this fight as a co-main event on the fight night. So if you look at Nicolai Negumereanu, to be honest, both guys haven't been impressive to me at all. I'm not going to even go apart. By the way, Nicolai Negumereanu was supposed to fight Igor Poteria on this card, and Poteria, Ukrainian, by the way, as well. So now it's Kennedy, man. This is a fight. Yeah, what can I say? I'm really not too interested in this one. Kennedy looked so bad in his last fight, man. I mean, he was just standing there and didn't do jack shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm taking Nicolai as well, but it's like pretty much I'm 51-49%. Is it for me? It's like that, Nicolai by. I'm going a decision, man. I don't know. This is really a fight that A, I don't have a good read on, and B, I don't really care. So, yeah.
No, I think that's good. I think it's fair. It's a good breakdown. I think both you guys, totally fair. It's a tough fight to call, guys, honestly. This is one that I'm pretty sure all of us were going back and forth on, Let's get some comments here, guys. Romanian guys like the dog of the week on MMA Twitter. Yeah, I think Nicolai can do it. I think he could do it. Nicolai decision. Kennedy Homer Simpson to check with. I mean, the last fight was really bad. Alexa Kmart got robbed against Nicolai. He did outstrike him according to the stats, but at the time, I thought Nicolai won that fight at the time. Nick is sloppy, irresponsible defensively. Yeah, his striking defense is bad. But he keeps pushing the pace. He sticks to your face. Kennedy's bad with pressure. I agree, man. I agree, Adam. Such a weird fight. Think about it. Kennedy absorbed 86 significant strikes against Carlos Ulberg in the first round. Again, in the first round. Like, I don't think he could do that again. I think his chin almost is gone from that fight, maybe. It's possible, You take a beating like that, like, it's hard to come back from it. What were you going to say, Marcel?
Yeah, I saw 8 Loco talking about a robbery. Should we talk about robberies again?
Okay, no. Let's not do it. Let's not do the robbery talk. We had enough yesterday. One of my coin flip fights, but he's taking Nicolai. I think they equally thought, but Kennedy could be promising a Fortis. Yeah, I mean, Fortis is a great gym. And that's what I've been thinking about. Cole, I was like, man, Safe he's got the magic beans, right? And one thing I will say is Kennedy, and I think Safe said this, he said the last fight took place at 10 in the morning, and he's like, Kennedy wasn't ready to fight that early in the morning, right? 10 a.m. Vegas time. There might be something to that, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if there is. I just look at a guy that's probably going to stand there, get teed off on, try to survive it and win. I don't want to bet on a guy like that. But this is not a bad bet. Kennedy in round 3. That seems like likely because Nick probably gasses out by then. I don't think Nick's going to go 3 with him. Maybe, but I doubt it. Anyways, we got 2 picks for the underdog here with Nicolai. All right, let's go to the next fight here, guys. Women's strawweight bout. Marina Rodriguez, Yan Jinyan. Interesting fights. Minus 255 Marina, plus 215 Yan. Let's start with you, Marcel. Go ahead.
First of all, this fight should be on the main card. Let's be clear about that. I don't give a fuck if it's about pay-per-view buys. You're not going to sell any more pay-per-views by not putting this on the main card, to be really honest. And it should get the highlight being on the main card. And if you don't put it on the main card, you should highlight it as a feature prelim, to be really honest. Personally, I've never been super high on Yan Xiaonan. I know she's okay. I don't mind her. I think she has a good striking. But I don't think she can really hang with the top of the division, in my opinion. She has some good wins. But it's against Claudia Gadelha, who hasn't been the same since like 5 years ago. Against, God, I forgot her name. What's her name again? Polish.
Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, Carolina.
Yeah. Same thing, if you look at Marina, I'm actually really impressed with what Marina showed so far. Wins against Watterson, against Dern. I think the Dern fight, really opened people's eyes. Also the Rebus fight, but definitely the Dern fight, where she only got dominated for the second round, I think, but all the other rounds she won. I think Marina wins this fight. It's a three-round fight. I think her striking is better. And I expect the fight to be on the feet. So, Marina Rodriguez, I think she wins all 3 rounds, 30-27.
How about you, Cole?
I think Marina Rodriguez finishes her. I think she knocks her out. I don't think Jan's as good as what people think she is. Rodriguez, I think her striking probably could be the best in the strawweight division. I just think she's just going to be way too good on the feet, and eventually in like second, third round, like I think if she finishes, it's going to be late, just towards all the damage. The ref was just going to step in, and Rodriguez is going to get the win. I just think this is a stupid fight, though. Like, I don't really get why this is Rodriguez's fight when Jan's coming off that loss, like a pretty bad loss, and then Rodriguez is riding all this momentum.
That was a lopsided loss.
Can I ask Cole a question? Go ahead. Cole, do you think if Marina wins impressive against Jan Chernan, and also it's also for you this question, Adam, does she get the title shot before Carla Esparza got her title shot?
When's Carla getting married?
I think there's a reason it's not booked.
Yeah, that's why my question. That's why I think as well.
They're waiting to see what happens at this fight. I think that's pretty clear. So I mean, I agree with you guys. Actually, I don't know what you guys like. She's actually one of my most confident picks on this card. I really like her in this fight, guys. I think -250 is a good line. She should probably be like -300. So you're getting a little bit of value, I think. Because I think she's about a 3-1 favorite. Like, so Jan's gonna have to outstrike her for 15 minutes to win the fight or knock her out. I don't see that happening. Marina's shown better striking, I think. I think it's way more likely Marina outstrikes her or Marina knocks her out. Like, Jan would have to fight almost a perfect fight to win this fight. This is a bad fight for her, guys, I think. Taking on someone like this who has power, who's getting more confident every fight. You talk about, like, when we noticed how good she was. It was, for me, the fight with Rebus, because Rebus was just destroying people coming off that win over Paige Van Zandt, which was like in a few minutes, right? And I'm like, damn, this girl's good. And the way she knocked her out, I was like, all right, I'm on high alert. And I bet on her for Waterson, and I picked her against Dern last year, Marcel, on the podcast as an underdog. So I really like this girl. And, even at -250, I still think there's some value here. I just think she's just a much better fighter. And Jan's going to have to fight a perfect fight to win. And I just don't see that happening, guys. I think she either wins the decision or maybe gets a knockout, like you said, Cole. I'm a little iffy on what it could be, because Jan, she did get finished her last fight, but it was like the nastiest elbows on the ground you'll ever see. Like, you guys saw that picture of Carla after, like, blood all over her elbow. Like, it was like the Armin fight the other day. So I don't know if that, like, if she gets to the ground and ground her pounds her, she can finish her too. Yeah, I like Marina a lot. Let's go to here. Got Mitchell. He says he likes to fight a lot, and he likes Rodriguez in the fight. Rodriguez is a dog versus Rodriguez. Yeah, she was like +250 maybe. Like, it was something crazy. This is number one contender fight, probably. Yeah, that's fair. Ken Shiro's giving some criticism. He says the Chinese fighters are too disciplined and they're not doing anything like to be like creative in the cage. And I think that's a good. Just in general, I don't think you could just single the Chinese fighters. Just in general, I think the fighters, they should be creative and have fun in there. Completely agree. It should be a main card. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, and with the split decision, I don't see it, man. But I know some people. I have seen some people on her this week. So go ahead.
Maybe if you have Saldi Amado, Adelaide Bird, and Chris Lee as judges, should bet on it if you know the judges. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. Ken Shiro says just jab, straight kick. Yeah, I think so too. Glenn says Rebus only has your one finish. Yeah, it's the one finish against Rebus. But you're right, or it's been her only finish, Marina's. I know what you're saying, Glenn. Yeah, I would lean a decision, I guess, just based on that too. Chinese fighters, yeah, no, they haven't really succeeded in. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's been a few that showed some promise, but you're right. Let's go to the next fight, guys. It's the last prelim main event. Once again, I get a Cole plug here, Cole. I've been plugging you so much. I got to plug myself, man. What the hell am I doing here? No, but he interviewed Jalen Turner as well, the Tarantula. So the odds for this fight are -160 Jalen, +140 Jamie Malarkey. Let me start on this one too. This is a great fight. I love this fight. I think this is probably one of the best fights in the card for sure. Definitely gonna. I think there's no doubt, and I know that Jalen said the same thing when you asked him, Cole. He's like, "Is there any chance this goes the distance?" The guy's like, "He's like, no." He's like, "There's no way." There's no way. This fight's not going 3 rounds. I'll tell you that right now. So this is a great fight for fantasy, I think, first off, because I think someone gets finished. And it might surprise you guys, but I'm actually going to go with the underdog here, Jamie Mullarkey, to get the knockout here. And I think it plays out like his last fight, guys. I really do. I think it plays out like the fight with Devontae Smith, where the first round is going to be tough for him because obviously Jalen's a great striker, great grappler. He's great everywhere, right? But this is a fight, man, and I just look at Jalen as being a little bit brittle. He's been knocked out 3 times. He's been dropped. And I think that this guy, Jamie's got some really good power. He's shown that his last 2 fights. He's a dog, man. He's just so tough, gritty. He's 2-2 in the UFC, but he definitely beat Ferguson. I think all 3 of us would agree with that. And the Bradwardell fight was like razor close. He barely lost to that guy who's like one of the best in the world right now. He's a guy that I think Jamie Mullarkey's got like absolutely no, love really from like the general public. But I think that this guy, after this fight and this spot, he could be on the main card in his next fight. I think he deserves it. I like this guy, and I like both guys. Just so you know, guys, like it's not like I'm writing off Turner by any means. I think he's a great fighter, and he's shown significant improvements in the grappling, which is really nice to see. And I think that's a great path to victory here for him. But ultimately, man, I think the toughness and durability of Jamie Mullarkey win out here, guys. I think he comes back after a tough first round and wins in the second round by knockout. So Jamie Mullarkey by knockout, that's kind of what I'm thinking here, plus 400. Again, Jalen's been finished 3 times by strikes. I think that Mullarkey can do it. And by the way, Jamie Mullarkey's won like his last 10 fights in a row by knockout. Like people don't look at him as a knockout artist. He knocks everyone out that he beats. So it's a great fight. It's a close fight, but I'm going with Mullarkey. Let's go with you, Cole. Give your thoughts on this one, man.
I've been pretty good at picking Jalen Turner fights. I picked him last time. It's the underdog. The only one I don't remember who I picked was the Frivola fight. I honestly don't really remember who I picked, but I picked the last 3, right? The Potter one. That was easy. Same with Luque. I like Turner here. I just not sold on Mullarkey. I just think Turner is just a better. I think it's a super close fight. Like, I think it's more of a pick 'em. Like, I do think the odds are a bit off, but I just think Turner is the better striker. Probably has more power. I think his ground game too. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen just wrestles him or just tries to bring it down to the ground. I think he's probably the better grappler, but it's super close. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Mullarkey knocked out, but I'll go Turner probably by TKO in like the second round.
That's totally fair. What were you, Marcel? What's your thoughts on this one?
I'm super on the fence on this one because I think it's a super close fight. And I think it can literally go either way. I think Jalen Turner, he's a good prospect. He is good on the ground. He has strong stand-up, but he has been sometimes in his fights, I think he could do better. You know what I mean? And that's also for Jamie Mullarkey. The first round against Devontae Smith wasn't great, but he came back and he finished the fight. If you look at his debut, for example, against Riddell, I think that was an amazing fight. It got fight of the night as well. Mm-hmm. He's super tough. I think we both called the Kama worthy knockout, I think, back then. So, yeah. I got to go with my gut feeling, man, and I got to go with I feel like Jamie Mullarkey is going to pull it off again for some reason. And I don't know why, but the dude keeps surprising me every time, what he does. Yep. He kind of looks like he has not, how do you say that, kind of the charisma, that you think like, oh, I'm going with the dude. But he's really good, I think, Yep. And I see him winning, I go with a second round or early third round finish for Jamie Mullarkey.
I think they're both really good. I'll just say that. By the way, Cole, I remember that fight with Frivola. I definitely picked Turner in that fight, and I was really surprised Frivola like dominated him with the wrestling. Like, I remember that. That was on the Adesanya and Gastelum card. Let's get some comments here from you guys from this fight. A Loco likes Turner by knockout. Fair enough. They got to do. Oh, this would be a great fight. Joel Alvarez and Jalen Turner. That would be great, right? Like 2 guys who are 6'3". This should not be his weight class. Jalen versus Jamie. I'm not touching this fight. It's one of the most closest fight in the card, but I think there's value in the dog. So does Hype. Dog likes Mullarkey too. Second round knockout. That's why I'm picking too. Hey George, what's up, man? He says, "Oh, he's done with the last fight. UFC wants Yan to win. Haley and Chalk gets the company favorite. Maybe, but I don't think she does. I think Mullarkey's best underdog pick in the card. I like him too. Turner Mullarkey's a great fight. It sure is. Joe also likes Mullarkey. Mullarkey's camp with Volk is solid too. Yeah, he's a good under. I think both guys are underrated. I mean, most people aren't like talking about them as like contenders. They're both really good fighters though. But I think Mullarkey's like a real like hidden gem, guys. Like I really do like, because again, he has those 2 losses to Riddell and Ziem. But I mean, come on, that Ziem fight, he definitely won that fight. And the Riddell fight, like you said, Marcel, it was like a war. It was like a fucking war, that fight. It was one of the best fights of the year. That was on the Adesanya Whitaker card. It was an amazing fight. All right, let's go to the next fight. Okay, here's the first fight of the main card. Serghei Spivac against Greg Hardy. get in the pay-per-view here, guys. Serghei Spivac minus 210. Greg Hardy plus 175. Let's start with you on this one, Cole. I know you've interviewed Greg Hardy as well. Not recently, but I know you've talked to Greg, former NFL player, obviously. Give me your thoughts on Greg Hardy, Ian.
I think it's Greg Hardy by knockout in like the first minute, or Serghei Spivac demolishes him by just taking him down and either submits him or ground and pounds. I like Spivac in this fight. I think he wins. I just no way you can lay this on Serghei Spivac, who Walt Harris knocked out in 50 seconds. Aspinall knocked out in 2.5 minutes. Hardy has that power. I think he probably hits harder than Walt Harris. But just like his takedown defense is not good. Like Marcin Tybura just took it out at will. And then as you get going him late, like his cardio isn't that good. Like he had to use that puffer against Ben Sassoli. Like he gasses out as the fight goes on. And like look at his UFC wins. Like it's Dimitri Smolenok, who hasn't even fought in years, came out for one fight against Greg Hardy, got knocked out. I don't think he's fought since. He knocked out Juan Adams, who we've seen get knocked out on the regional scene. Like I don't think his chin's the best. He beat Jorge Castro. I don't think he's very good. Knocked out Maurice Green, who gets knocked out quite often. At every single step up he gets, he loses. I don't think Spivac's anything that good. Like I don't think he's a top 15 guy. I just think he just out wrestles Greg Hardy and gets like a probably late second, like early third round finish, just more from just Hardy just being exhausted.
What about you, Marcel? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Hardy has 4 wins and 9 fights in the UFC, and all 4 guys aren't in the UFC anymore. Spivac, listen, man. As long as the Spivac in his debut doesn't show up, we should be good. You know, I expect Hardy to come forward. I expect Spivac to take him down. I honestly expect Spivac to win a submission in the first round, man. That's what I expect. You know, and if not, as longer the fight goes, the more in favor it gets to Spivac, like Cole says. You know, Hardy got a knockout. I got a puncher's chance with knockout early in the fight, you know, but I think Spivac is smart this time and takes him down. If he's stupid, he stands with him and gets knocked out in the first round. But I think he takes him down and he submits him. And that's what he should do as well, you know. And by the way, Spivac, he got a win on his record against Tai Tuivasa, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's some time ago, and that was when Tai Tuivasa was on a bad streak.
Yeah.
So he got some good wins on his record, you know, but yeah, I'm taking. He also won against Olenik. It wasn't that great of a fight, but I'm going with Spivac in this one. He should win this one.
All right, so I got some thoughts on this fight. You know, I've been really going back and forth with this one because it's like a mid-level heavyweight fight kind of. Like you got 2 guys that have shown, you know, some promise at times, and then other times just fall apart. So it's a tough one. I honestly have been leaning Greg Hardy like the last couple of days, right? But then I started thinking about it. I talked to Cole yesterday because I just wanted to get his thoughts on it. And I thought about this fight more, Cole. And like I went and watched Greg Hardy's fights back. I watched them back again. I watched the Tybura fight back again. And after watching that fight, I can't pick him in this fight because he only has 5 minutes of cardio, guys. Like he will gas out really bad in that second round. And he's really, you know, I was thinking to myself this whole time he's a pretty good striker, but he's not a good striker at all. He really isn't. He's got some power, but he's not a good striker. I'm not saying Spivac is either, you know. But I think it's like pretty close on the feet. Like I don't think it's a blowout. And then there's a massive advantage for one guy on the ground. Massive. Like it's huge. And then, you know, I look at that Vandera fight too. Like Vandera is not that bad. He's a big dude. He's you know, pretty good striking and you know, he's just a huge guy. And he took him down easily and just beat the tar out of him. And I think that's probably what happens here. I think it's kind of like the Tybura fight, guys. I think Greg Hardy, you know, does okay in the first round, but as long as Spivac doesn't get finished, and Hardy will have a puncher's chance for 5 minutes. Spivac doesn't get finished, he will take him down and beat him to a pulp and win by TKO. So, you know, I'm looking at, like, if you look at the props, guys, Greg Hardy by knockouts plus 300 and Serghei Spivac by knockouts plus 300. So you could take both of them, really, because I think either guy gets a knockout, because I think he finishes it with ground and pound. Also, submissions plus 300. But I don't think this fight goes a distance. I think someone gets finished, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Greg Hardy getting finished on the ground again, because, again, it's MMA. It's not a boxing match. It's not a kickboxing match. And it's hard to learn wrestling in that short amount of time. I know he's obviously at a good camp, but, you know, Spivac he's training in Vegas now, too. He's at Extreme Couture now, I believe. So, good spot for him. The guy's a beast. But, you know, his chin is a little sketchy. So, I wouldn't play the money line in this one. I would look for a prop on him by knockout or submission at plus 300. That's my thoughts. Get some quick comments here, guys. A-Loke was happy his boy Spivac's fighting the pay-per-view. Daniel likes Spivac. Let's see here. Spivac took the fight, last one fight. Yeah, he did. He did the last fight, but he didn't look good at all. Keep going down here. I don't know. Here's this guy saying about this fight. Malarkey's popular pick, tough fight for him. Yeah, it could go either way. I think Hardy gets an awkward Spivac decision. I don't think he goes to decision because I think, guys, if the fight goes the way we think it's going to go, that second round or even the first round, he could get taken down. I just think once he gets taken down, guys, he's going to get so tired on the ground. And also, like, he doesn't react well to punches too either, guys. Did you notice this in his fights? Like the Thai fight, he clipped Thai, but the way he got knocked out, and then also the Tabura fight, like the ground and pound, I think his chin is a little questionable too, And he's also taking a lot of shots in football. That helps. That's what I like, buddy. I like Spivac by ground and pound, man. That's what I'm thinking here. So again, I told Cole yesterday, I'm pretty sure I'm going with Greg Hardy, but I went and watched the fights back. I'm not impressed by the guy as much as I thought it, as much as I remembered. Because I remember at the beginning of his career, he's knocking some guys out in the contender series. I'm like, this guy's not as bad as what people are saying. But at this point, he, like you said, Cole, I think you made a great point. When he gets to that level, he can't get to that next step. As we saw against Volkov, Thai, and now I think in this fight, and Tabura, but it also against Spivac. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Alex.
It's also the last fight on Hardy's deal, though, which is kind of interesting that they're kind of throwing us. I think if he loses this, I think he's done.
That's interesting. I mean, but it's also like it's a risk versus reward thing, right? Because if he goes out there and knocks out, which he can, right? We're not saying he can't knock with Spivac. We all said he has a puncher's chance, especially in the first round, right? But you're right, Cole. If he loses, especially with ground and pound, like we think, that could be it for Greg Hardy in the UFC. And I think all of his haters would like that. Let's go to the next fight here. Alex Oliveira against Kevin Holland. Holland minus 300, Cowboy plus 250. Start with you, Cole.
Holland by first round knockout. I don't think this fight's that close. This is like basically they go, who's a welterweight that's a worse striker than Holland that can't grapple? And they just found Alex Oliveira for Holland to style on and people to think Kevin Holland's back and he's some force at welterweight.
How about you, Marcel?
Holland's probably a knockout in the first round. I completely agree. I don't have anything else to add. I think Oliveira. I always enjoy his fights, but I think he's kind of done, to be really honest. And Holland is a good move to go to welterweight. I think. Yeah, I like Holland in this one, also with a knockout in the first round. So I'm completely with Cole in this one.
This guy should have been at welterweight for the longest time. I have no idea why he made this move so late. But I want to tell you what I got a hot take for you guys in this one. I'm not picking Cowboy. I'm taking Kevin Holland by submission. That's my prediction in this fight. I think he submits him, guys. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I think he's actually going to shoot for a takedown and try to show off his wrestling in this fight. Because he actually has decent wrestling, and I think he might show it off against the guy who's smaller than it. Well, not smaller, but the same size, I should say. I think he could actually take Cowboy down. Cowboy's not a great grappler, like you said, Cole, by any means. Or maybe Cowboy takes it down, he gets him in a scramble with a triangle or gets his back or something. I think his ground game's solid. I'm looking at the submission because, again, historically, Cowboy has lost quite a few fights by submission. 2 of his last 3. He's lost 5 times in the UFC by submission. I actually really like this angle, guys. I like this, man. Let's go with Kevin Holland by submission. What's the prop on that? Plus 850. There we go. What do you guys think? He's been submitted 5 times. What do you guys think? What do you think, Marcel? Am I crazy?
Yes, but I don't know if Kevin Holland goes for a submission in this one. I think he looks for the knockout. That's what I think. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. I wouldn't be super surprised. But yeah, I think he just goes for the knockout, man. And I think he gets it as well. That's why I would go with the knockout.
Do you see the angle I'm going at, though, Cole? It's kind of like with Kyler Phillips a few weeks ago. And I'm like, this guy sucks at submission defense with Marcelo Rojo. Take plus 550. Plus 850, guys. Tap to rain, Brown with no hooks. I agree. That was just last year. Only one. He's got a decent chin, but I wouldn't be surprised he knocked him out. That's only plus 150, though. Maybe I'm getting too excited about this plus 850 odds. Holland by knockout. That's what I'm saying, though, Doug. I just think he's going to try to show off the wrestling. I know it's crazy. It's going to sound dumb, and you guys are going to be like, why is he doing this in the fight? But I think he might do it because he's been training with, I think, Johnny Hendricks, right, for a while in the wrestling. So, all right, let's go to the next fight. We got 3 more left here on this card. Bryce Mitchell versus Edson Barboza. Interesting fight here, too. Mitchell minus 155, Barboza plus 135. Start with you, Marcel. Go ahead.
First of all, UFC should figure this thing out. He is everywhere 11-0, and the UFC counts his semifinal in the Ultimate Fighter and is 11-1 there. So What is it? Is he 11-1 or is he 11-0? In my opinion, I go just with undefeated because nobody counts those Ultimate Fighter semifinals. Or do you guys disagree with me? I want to know.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So, if you look, Barboza last fight lost to Giga Chikadze. No shame in that. Before that, man, he looked good against Shane Burgos, man. I'm not gonna lie. I think he looked pretty amazing, and he finished him as well. Something I didn't saw coming that he was gonna finish him. Mercani fight was also no problem for him. Bryce Mitchell, the guy with one of the two guys with the only twister in the UFC, right, along with Korean Zombie. Probably his best win is against Andre Fili, man, his last win. But that's been almost 1.5 years ago, man. It's such a long time ago. Plus, I think Barboza brings a lot of different tools to the game for Mitchell than all the other guys did that he fought so far. Barboza also can be solid on the ground, has some good submission defense, I think. Mitchell will try to get to the ground ASAP, I think. I'm taking Barboza here, man. I think he wins a decision. If he not knocks him out either, but I'm going with a decision for Barboza.
Go ahead.
Edson Barboza by knockout. I don't think Bryce Mitchell's a very good striker at all. And for being such a good grappler, like you see that with all the jiu-jitsu guys, like his takedowns aren't very good. I think it's like 40-something% takedown accuracy. And like Barboza's underrated takedown defense. Like I think it's like 70-something, 76, 77%. But like a lot of that is inflated because Khabib got him down so many times that like he gets everyone down. But I think Barboza keeps us on the feet. Like I don't even think it's this close of a fight. Like I think Edson just kind of styles on him on the feet and knocks him out. Like I think he'll go the body, the leg, and then eventually he just drops it and the ref has to step in.
I don't think this fight's going to be close either way. I think either guy just dominates in their area of the game. It's who can, keep the fight in their world. Bryce Mitchell is obviously going to look to take the fight to the ground. I think if he gets to the ground, guys, it's going to be a bad night for Barboza. But if he keeps on the feet, Barboza's probably going to, like you said, knock him out. It's a really tough fight to call. This is the one I've struggled the most on the whole card. I'll be honest with you guys. So, these guys are probably on something with the underdog value on Barboza. I'm thinking about him too. Don't get me wrong, because I think obviously if he keeps on the feet, he'll win. But Mitchell's just, I think he's kind of a special grappler, man. I don't like this guy like as a person by any means, but as a grappler and as a fighter, I mean, the guy's got something special going. He's just got this ability to really time his takedowns well. They're like kind of ugly looking, Cole, like you said, but he gets them a lot of the time. It's just tough, it's a tough fight because Barboza, he showed pretty good takedown defense against like Dan Ige, for instance, but then Makwan and Mercani, that third round, he was getting all wrestled completely in that third round, guys. So it's tough because on the feet, obviously he'll win. It's just, this is MMA. I'm really having a hard time with this fight. I'm leaning the slightest towards Bryce Mitchell by decision. I know it's a boring pick. I think I think Barboza will make him work for it, though. I'll tell you that. He's going to make it work for it. But that third round of the Mercani fight really gives me worries, guys, because he really did got wrestled, got taken down multiple times, got held down, and I think the weight cut's hard. So the third round he'll probably lose. And then so it'll probably be first round Barboza and then second and third round Mitchell. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm not betting on this fight by any means, and I don't blame you guys all for picking Barboza. And I mean, it's definitely a pick that I was thinking about all week. So I'm still thinking about it. I might switch by Friday. I doubt it, but I might. Anyways, I know what you guys are saying. Let's take some comments here. A Loco, Edson by decision. Marcus likes Edson. There you go. Mitchell will twist for Edson. Barboza looked a little behind Giga. I mean, yeah, it's a different fight, though, obviously. Mitchell did struggle. Yeah, he won the fight, but you're right. He didn't look great at times. Barboza, I think he's too strong. Possible. He's definitely a strong dude. Lots of experience. Yeah, it's dog or pass. I agree with that. If Bryce could take him down, it will. If he can Fili, get down Edson. Yeah, I know. Fili's got pretty good wrestling, and he took him down and controlled him. So Bryce by split. That's what this guy says. Yeah, guys, like it's a close fight. I love the fight though. It's a great fight. I'm like Edson Rose's. I told you guys this, but like the first card I ever saw was UFC 123. BJ Penn knocked out Matt Hughes. Edson Barboza made his debut that night against Mike Lulo and destroyed him with leg kicks. This is the first card I ever saw in person, like at UFC card. I was like, holy fuck, this is brutal. Like the kicks were so nasty, and he's been doing his whole career. So, at some point though, he's going to start declining, and I don't know, maybe it's now. I'm not sure. Let's go to the co-main event, guys. We got Rafael dos Anjos taking on late notice replacement opponent Renato Moicano, 160-pound catchweight fight. Odds for this, minus 185, Rafael dos Anjos, plus 155, Renato Moicano. Start with you, Cole. Go ahead.
Renato Moicano. I'm taking the dog. It's hard to trust RDA. Like, the guy hasn't fought since November of 2020. He's 37 years old. Like, he's getting up there in age. I just think it's such a close fight. Like, I think, like, the way Moicano loses, I think he gets knocked out. I don't think RDA has that power to knock him out. Like, the guys to knock him out are Aldo, Chan Sung Jung, and Rafael Fiziev. And, like, he took Calvin Kattar's best punches. He fought Cub Swanson. Like, he's fought some of these tough guys. Like, even Alexander Hernandez has power, and he kind of walked through those. I think he can just keep it kind of at a range, just use his jab. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one initiating the grappling, because I think he's probably the better grappler than Dos Anjos. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it goes decision. To me personally, I'm not a fan of this being 5 rounds. I don't get the point. Like, I get why you did RDA Fiziev 5 rounds because it was supposed to be, but I don't know why this is 5 rounds. I think it probably goes 5 rounds. I think Moicano edges out a decision.
There's a bold pick there, Cole. I like it. What about you, Marcel? What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so the thing is, 4 days notice, man. 5 rounds, 160. But yeah, we kind of fought at 145 before, and now he's at 155, fighting 160. Listen, I agree with Cole's breakdown, man. I don't think RDA has the power to knock him out. So probably it depends on how RDA shows up, at his 37 years of age, getting older. Yeah, I mean, if this fight took place 4 years ago, I would take Dos Anjos. But I think it's a smart move by Moicano taking this fight. There was nothing to lose for him in this fight, pretty much. He's not ranked. With a win over RDA, he probably comes into the rankings. Even as is at the 160 pounds. Moicano, maybe even a late finish, man. I don't know, but I'm taking decision out of respect for RDA. I'm taking a decision.
By the way, this guy's asking about Bryce's one loss. I mean, it's what Marcel said earlier, and I'm with you guys. Like, it shouldn't count. His loss to Brad Katona on the Ultimate Fighter. It went to the 3rd round. That's why they counted as a fight, but it shouldn't really. I think he's 14-0. I wouldn't count the Ultimate. It's a different. You're in the house. It's just a different situation, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But like the finale, obviously, those are real fights. They're all real fights, but like that's a professional fight, in my opinion. All right, Bon Kui likes Moicano. Mitchell likes RDA, or he's saying RDA decision. Tristan RDA. Money Moicano from Nevermind. Daniel RDA saying making 155 at his age is sketchy. Glenn thinks that the travel and the cardio could affect the cardio here. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting fight. I mean, I'm going to stay away from it personally, just because of short notice and everything. Like, just doesn't seem like a good spot for. It's probably dog or pass, honestly, guys. Like, for a bet, just based on just all the weird factors of this one. I'm still thinking RDA probably gets the job done, though. He has had a full camp. He's been training 4 or 5 round fight for a while. And the guy's still, like, capable fighter. He's coming off a win over Paul Felder. He's been competitive. Like, if you look at the losses, they were to, like, really elite guys. I mean, the guy is still, I think, good. But, 2-year layoff is a long – or not 2 years completely, but a year and a half. It's still a long time. But I do think, overall, the guy's had a great career, man. And, I think he could win this fight against Moicano. Because the thing is, Moicano – what's interesting about this fight is he's got 9 wins by submission, none by knockout, and then 7 by decision, right? RDA's only been submitted 1 time in his whole career. It's not even a real submission. It was the jaw injury against Clay Guida. He's never been submitted. So you'd have to think that if you're picking Moicano, that he would finish him by knockout or win a decision, which is possible. But I feel like the 5 rounds definitely favors RDA due to the longer camp and preparing for the specific date. So I'm thinking RDA by decision. That's what I'm thinking. But the weird thing is, like, Moicano, he's never lost a decision, though. That's the weird thing, right? So you got RDA, who's like never really been submitted, and Moicano's never lost a decision. Something's got to give in this fight. It's going to be interesting. Bryce's first time as a favorite UFC pressure. Is it?
He was a favorite over Rosa, Feely.
Yeah, I think he's been a favorite. Like, the lines were close. Let me double check it. I think you're right, Cole. Make sure. Let me double check. Yeah. Okay. So Feely was like a pick 'em. We'll give him that one. Moffitt underdog. He was the favorite of Tyler Diamond anyway. So, like, in his debut, and like you said, Marcel or Cole against Mitchell, he was the underdog against Matt Sales when he twisted him, though. So he's definitely, being a little underappreciated. But yeah. All right, let's go to the last fight, guys. The main event here. Do the last fight here, guys. Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal, main event. UFC 272 grudge match. Odds for this one, minus, see some big numbers on here, guys. Minus 400 on Colby, plus 300 on Masvidal. Let's start with you, Cole. Give me your pick in this fight.
Yeah, the odds are high. Maybe you guys might call me crazy. I'll take plus 300 Colby Covington by knockout. I think he takes Masvidal down. Normally, Covington's more of a position guy. Like, he just kind of grinds out. I just think he really wants to beat this guy up. I don't think he'll even bother striking with him. Like, I think maybe you'll see, like, if it gets to the third round, Covington will start striking with him because Masvidal's power will be down. He'll get tired. I think Covington takes him down and just beats him up, and the ref eventually has to step in and stop it. But I think everyone's kind of picking Covington by decision. I think Covington finishes him, especially because Masvidal, like, everyone says he can't be finished. Like, Kamaru Usman just knocked him out, and you never know how you rebound from knockout. Masvidal's getting up there in age. He's been submitted before. Like, maybe it's a submission, but I think Covington finishes him.
You're saying ground and pound, Cole, or like a stand-up knockout? Yeah,
no, like a TKO on the ground.
What's your pick in this one, Marcel?
Oh, yeah, definitely Colby Covington. I think there's a kind of a level gap as well. You know, if you look at definitely the grappling is all Colby, in my opinion. You know, and Colby has been improved his striking a lot in the past years, I think, and his transfer to MMA Masters was also a very good find so far. I think he gave Usman twice the most difficult fight of his career. You know, and they say the first fight wasn't competitive. It was super competitive, you know. There was 2-2 for me going into the fifth round. The second fight was also very competitive. Plus, I think Colby won the last 2 rounds from that second fight. So, for Masvidal, it probably has to go with that has to land a good punch, you know, to knock out Colby. But I think Colby is smart. You know, I don't think he lets him land that punch, moves out of the way, goes for a takedown, and probably finishes it via TKO. I think he toys a little bit with him, to be really honest, man. Maybe 3rd or 4th round, I think he finishes with TKO.
Yeah, there you go. By the way, there was a bet I forgot to mention earlier. Plus 100 in the Hardy Spivac fight, plus 100 on either guy getting a finish. I think that's what the odds are. So I like that. Let's go back to this fight. I mean, I'm going with Covington. I think you have to, right? You have to. This is the wrestling, because we just saw Masvidal 2 years ago against Usman. I understand Usman's better than Covington, like a little better. I mean, they're pretty close, but he's a little better. He took him down pretty easily. I mean, I don't think Masvidal is going to be able to stop these takedowns because Colby's got an endless gas tank. It's not like he's going to give up after a couple takedowns. I just think Colby fights smart guys and just grinds it out, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes either. I'm leaning decision. I mean, the odds are saying decision. It's only plus 115, but a knockout is plus 400. I think you said, Cole, plus 300, and plus 1,000 on submission. What do you guys think of a submission? Or you don't think he makes it? He would try to like ground and pound him, man.
See, I think he wouldn't want to let him tap. I think he'd rather have to say that he knocked him out or the ref had to pull him off of him.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel it. I think it's possible for sure. And like you said, Cole, he's coming off a brutal knockout loss. Everyone was saying Masvidal had an iron chin. I mean, he kind of did, and then that's it, you know. So you never know if that could be like the end of it, like his ability to take a shot. But I just look at the last 2 fights, he's been taken out 7 times. Covington, great takedown ability. I just think he out wrestles him. So, yeah, I mean, should be a good fight. I mean, overall, it's a good card. I think we had a great show today, guys. I loved it. It was so much fun to talk to you guys about this card. I'm really excited for Saturday now. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let's just get these last couple of comments here. Like Colby to win by knockout, Masvidal's being overlooked. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Doug. He's definitely a great striker. And, you know, if he keeps it standing, he's got a puncher's chance or a knee-er's chance or kicker's chance. But I just think he gets taken down, grinded out. What do you think with next for Masvidal and Covington if they win? For Masvidal, I mean, geez, that'd be interesting, right? Because if he gets this win over the number contender, it puts him back in that position. It's just like, would he fight Usman for the 3rd time? Probably not. So I guess someone else. But Covington, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking, guys, maybe the winner fights Khamzat versus Burns, the winner of that fight. Is that what you guys are thinking, Cole?
Yeah, I think you could. Masvidal maybe do Edwards like after the title fight. I think Edwards loses, so maybe you just do that to get that one out of the way. But like, it's kind of weird. Both these guys are in like a weird spot. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe one of them tries to switch weight classes, just switch it up, because I don't see either of them getting a title shot in the near future.
Right. No, for sure. Any thoughts on that, Marcel?
I mean, why would Colby Covington not try to go to middleweight, man? Is his frame too little? I mean, I think honestly he can beat Adesanya, man. Don't go crazy on me. I think on the ground definitely a possibility. You know, stand up, different different opinion, obviously, but why not? I honestly think if Usman wasn't a champion here in this division and a dominant champion, probably Colby would have been the champion. You know what I mean? So why wouldn't you try? Because the third fight with Usman is not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
And what else you want to do in the division? That's how I think about it. And Masvidal, I think Masvidal will probably stay around, but I don't see him making a run for a title anytime soon, to be really honest.
Yeah, like you said, Cole, he's 37, right? Like he's getting up there in age. He's still a big name. Go ahead.
Do the Nate Diaz fight, after if it doesn't work
or
out.
Nick.
For
If Nick wants to fight again, I don't know if he's going to fight again, but or McGregor. Yeah, McGregor's a good one too, Cole. That's a good fight.
But yeah, he might be next to the title mix again. Apparently, what Dana said.
I heard that, but you know what? If he wins, maybe he does call Connor. Maybe that's the fight. Take the money. Yeah. By the way, I like this guy's comment. He's saying that Masvidal's been, only beaten by Usman and what's his name, Warley Alves. So, Colby. Whereas Masvidal's been beaten by like tons of guys, including like some really. Actually, Masvidal's had some bad losses. He has some great wins though. Usman is 5-16 against Masvidal. I think it'll be a good fight.
Did you watch that Mike Brown interview with Ariel this week?
I didn't see that. I didn't see it. What happened?
So I was kind of surprised that he said it's like I thought he'd kind of take shots. Colby, he even goes like, "We should have pulled out of that Warley fight. Like you don't realize how hurt Colby was.
Like a broken rib or something, right?
Yeah, but the thought was if they pulled out, he was getting cut. So Colby said, "I can't not fight this one."
So yeah, I heard what Dan Lambert said this week, and they confirmed that basically they said, "Hey, your style is not fan friendly. You got one fight left of your deal. If you don't put on a show, we're going to let you go." And that's when he did the whole filthy animal thing or whatever. I can't remember what happened in Brazil, whatever he said to the fans there, right? So anyways, you know what? Colby, I mean, the guy's really, he's really like created like a character for himself, but you see, it'd be interesting to see how he bounces back. I mean, he's coming off a loss to Usman too. They both are, right? So, all right, Colby won't beat Izzy. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough fight for him. Cam's I say when the winner of these two beats Burns. That's what I think happens. Do you guys want to quickly touch on the Cain Velasquez thing? You want to touch on that really quickly? That happened this morning, guys. Like, I mean, it's kind of like news, right? Apparently, attempted murder. I mean, we don't have enough. We don't have enough information at this point, huh? It was crazy to wake up to that, though. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, holy crap, what happened here? Yeah. So I hope everything plays out.
I saw you tweeting like I tweeted something, but I took it off because I don't stand behind it anymore. But I didn't even saw your tweet. So
no, I know I didn't say that. No. I stand behind what I said. I just said that people were taking my tweet out of context. I can just address this really quickly. All I said was, I think that it's definitely worth asking the question if CTE played a factor here. I mean, it's just anytime I see this, guys, and then all these people were saying like I'm blaming it on a CTE. I never said that at all. I said, is it worth asking the question? That's literally what I said.
People
took
always
it the wrong way.
All the time.
Yeah. So they took it. They're trying to spin my words. I didn't like that. So I'm like, you know what? I had a friend of mine message me, and he's just like, maybe you should just take it down. So I just did because I'm not trying to fight with anyone, guys. You know what I mean? I just think it's worth mentioning because I've seen it happen so much in hockey, football, Cole. Like we see it all the time with these guys. They turn violent. I don't know if that's what happened here. Apparently, there's some other stuff going on. Anyways,
what's the thing in the news a week ago? Also with domestic violence. What was it again? And people got also mad at me for something.
John Jones, maybe. I mean, people were upset.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That clip. That video,
Dude, people they want to defend people that are like, doing some stuff that they shouldn't be doing. Anyways, whatever.
I actually replied to Will Harris about it. I told him like, I also don't see any extra value in showing that police video. You know what I mean? And
that's for clicks, Marcel. We've already talked about this.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're like, so you condone domestic violence? Fuck off.
I know. People want to twist things. That's the internet for you. Anyways, Marcus, appreciate it. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Was there anything else you want to? Okay, let's get out of here then. Cole, plug your stuff, man, and let's get out of here. We've run over the hour, 1:15. Appreciate you guys sticking around.
Yeah, Twitter, @ColeShell91. All my stuff's always on Twitter. I'll plug my show for next week. There's an interview you might want to see with one Diego Sanchez that was quite interesting.
Really? Okay, there we go, Cole. Cole does great interviews, guys. I gotta give the guy some credit. I want more people to watch his stuff. I want people to watch this podcast too. Marcel, plug your stuff.
It's Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram. And I also wanted to say MMA DNA again. Eurosport.nl, and then the mixed martial arts section is my.
You don't work there anymore. You don't have to plug them anymore. Not kidding.
No.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at MMAOB Podcast, MMAOddsbreaker.com, YouTube channel, obviously. Like, share, subscribe to all that stuff. iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, some other places. You guys can also get my writing at bookies.com. I'll have my picks or my bets article. I've been killing it this year, so hopefully the next one is good too. MyMMAnews.com, and then obviously MMAOddsbreaker.com. Have a great day, guys, and we'll talk soon. Back Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern.